Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded on Saturday, September 21st, 2024, and will be posted to the channel 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time zone on Sunday, September 22nd, 2024. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes directly real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. For those who need to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. Very straightforward from there. And I believe now there's some dates starting out in March 2025, maybe some earlier dates, but we're looking at early 2025 for session dates. And if you'd like to connect even sooner, we actually do live streams in our Platinum membership on Fridays, Friday morning Pacific time zone. And you're welcome to join our Platinum membership. The join buttons are on the front page of the YouTube channel, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. So that's all the housekeeping for this morning. Great to be back with everybody. If you watch the channel all the time, you know that we grab questions from our community board. Requests go out on Mondays every week. And I think, again, there were like 400 questions this week. And my wife then goes through them, brings them down to a list of, I think there's 82 questions. Again, this week should be a longer show, and go through them real time with you here, and we address them one by one. So, without any further delay, let's get going on today's top countdown, 82 questions. So, question 82. Good morning, Sterling. Will Kamala Harris expand the Supreme Court during her terms? Yes, I've always seen that she, along with kind of Democratic ticket here, are going to expand the Supreme Court by 3 justices. They'll go from like 9 to 12, and there'll be like another 3 or 4 justices replaced, so like a total like 7 kind of new justices, but 3 being added to the count of 9. And it looks like that's going to happen with her, partly in her first term, even the first year, like 2025, and then into 2026. So a lot going on there with her, Kamala Harris. 81. Hi, Sterling and team. Nebraska Republicans with a push from 45 and Lindsey Graham are trying to change the electoral process in the state to a winner takes all, which would prevent the potential for Harris to win the single Nebraska District 2 electoral vote that has long leaned Democratic. Will this nefarious effort succeed, or will Harris win the single electoral vote? I get 45 in the GOP will not be successful in moving to a winner takes all strategy. So it looks like then that electoral vote will go to Harris. 80. The Heritage Foundation and Federal Society are technically 2 wealthy lobbying groups who buy judges. Will they ever be banned? I don't get they're going to be banned, but I get a lot of the judges will be much higher levels of scrutiny around ethics and then legal ramifications, even like jail time, prison time, believe it or not, for not abiding by those very strong ethics rules. So don't think it can be banned, but the scrutiny on the finances for the judges and how they get funded, where their financing comes from, full disclosure, along with very strong ethics guidelines. All this is coming up in the first term of Kamala Harris. 79. Hello, Sterling. Will the Democrats still retain control of the House and Senate in the midterm elections 2026? Yes, I still get that Democrats will still hold a majority as you go into the kind of midterm elections 2026. Majority in the House and the Senate. 78. Will Tim Walz run for president in 8 years? That'll be 2032. I get he's going to throw his hat in the ring and try to run, but it doesn't look like he'll win. It looks like actually it could be a much more moderate, I'll call moderate Republican candidate that will win in 2032. 77. Hello, Sterling. Will Jack Allen win the Tennessee U.S. House District 3 race against Chuck Fleischman? Looks like Republican Chuck Fleischman, is that his name? Fleischman will win the tight race. 76. Hi, Sterling. Can you and your team offer some guidance about when our souls and our bodies? So, your soul is you, and your body is like your car. And it's different for every soul that comes down. And every soul that comes down is going through a life lesson that involves not just the soul coming down for the infant, but also for the mother, the family, doctors. It's a combined life lesson for all of us. All of our life paths are connected. So it's not the same for every individual soul, but remember, your soul is you and the body is the car. So I think a lot of people always kind of commingle, when does the soul enter the body? It's very different for every single soul journey coming down. Remember that life is a continuum. There is no birth, there is no death. Actually, it's a continuum of your soul energy, but through different, phases of life and the living, if you will. This question comes up all the time, and I understand why. It's a very hot topic. But, just keep these factors in mind. It's a unique soul lesson for the infant coming down, when they come in, whether they come in, even pre-birth. All these things are factors in the life lessons that are connected with everybody connected with that child. 75. Love and light to Sterling and team. I believe I have something called aphantasia, the inability to picture something in one's mind. Can that stop me from manifesting something if I can't see it in my mind? No, I don't get any limitation of manifesting. So manifesting is ability to be able to focus on very specific outcomes in your life with a very specific date, for example. And when you put that energy towards that very specific element, that's how your guides and angels know how to help you physically put the right people in your path. But this condition here, aphantasia, not familiar with it, but what I'm getting from my team is then they put other elements into your life, either in the dream state, or other, let's say, clairs, like your ability of knowingness, or hearing, clairaudience. Those things ramp up. So I don't my team saying it's not really that anybody ever really has the problem with not being able to create things in their mind. I get it. But then there's other elements that come up, other skills, other sensitivities you have, other clairs that get ramped up along with like dream state imaging. But all notwithstanding, none of this affects manifesting. Manifesting is a kind of a separate technique that we can all create and all engage in. 74. The spiritual reset we're going through seems to be moving at a glacial pace, and it's discouraging to witness all the hate and carnage in the world. Sterling, what do you do to stay positive? Well, it's actually never been really difficult for me to stay positive, only because I kind of constantly connect with thousands of entities on the other side. So I'm constantly in a state of, conversation or meetings with them, like a lot of conference room meetings. So it's kind of like, when you're running a company, you keep it moving forward. So almost like no time to say get overly negative. It's kind of keeping the information flowing, keeping it moving out to the world, so to speak. Remember, we are going through a 3-decade reset right now. It's a good reset, year 2020 to 2050. Phenomenal changes in the world, in all areas of the world. 73. Hi, Sterling and Linda. Will MRIs be replaced by something more comfortable for patients? I do see within about a 5-year period here, there'll be new sonic sound wave based technology utilizing artificial intelligence to, let's say, map trillions of pieces of data along with sonic imaging, that will be a lot less intrusive and a lot easier for a lot of patients to go through. So yeah, I do see there's a very new technique coming up here. Looks like they're already testing it, but it looks like it'll be rolled out within about 5 years. And I'm getting that this technology I'm talking about here, sonic waveform technology with artificial intelligence, already being used to like diagnose some kinds of COVID cases. 72. Hello, Sterling and Linda. Thank you for all you do. Could you have a look at the fires that have been breaking out in France, or at least some of the incidents deliberately caused by those associated with Islamic State or Russia? I see two different types of fires breaking out around France. I think they're talking about here, right? One is maybe around religious sites or religious centers, look like they're deliberately set. And then other types of fires that are more wild in nature. So it's coming from even like fires burning in Portugal, coming across into France, or something going on here in that area of the world. So two different types of causes of the fires. I'm not getting that say Russia is responsible for these fires. It looks like there's some radicalism within the country, but my team is not associated with, say, Russia, and they're asking about Islam or Islamic State. There's a radical nature setting off some of these religious site fires. Maybe these are in tops of churches or something. Yeah, so it's two different causes for the fires. 71. Hello, Sterling. I have a question about ETs. When you and most everyone speak about extraterrestrial, somehow it sounds to me as if it's implied that ETs are on the same physical and density as the third dimension that humans are and have been in for so many centuries. Am I right to suspect that many extraterrestrials come from higher levels of vibration and don't dwell on the denseness of physicality that humans do? Well, all extraterrestrial species are highly evolved, and many of them have the ability to do shape shifting. So there's an ability for them to kind of manipulate their molecular structure, and that's one of the reasons they can easily move through dimensions. So even if they're on the Earth, and many of them do visit Earth all the time, there are millions visiting Earth right now. They actually can move through dimensions quite easily. So they don't really stay in one dimension. They might be doing things on Earth, working with scientists or people about world peace. Then they can move through other dimensions like the heaven dimension. But nothing being stuck, say, within a third dimension, but they have the ability to move through multi dimensions. And many times people refer to many extraterrestrial species as multi-dimensional. That makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, 7 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling and team. With the rise in people leaving organized religion, especially Mormons, do you see the Mormon church going away? Well, I see all religions in the world over the next 3 decade period here being minimized. So people are going to move much more into spirituality, away from organized religion, and more understanding about the way the universe was created and the way that extraterrestrial species have interacted over millions of years with humanity. Homo sapiens sapiens. But a lot of religion, not just say the Mormon religion, all religions will actually start to move by the wayside in favor of more universal spirituality and understanding of what the universe is all about and the one source, the one force. 69. Do hybrids and ETs have the ability to foresee and choose the circumstances of their deaths? Or, like humans, do they often die of disease, accidents, and seemingly random causes? ETs do not necessarily know when they're going to die. They kind of share that with humanity or Homo sapiens sapiens. Many of them die of natural causes. They don't know when they're going to die. And I mean, their bodies are put out to space when they die. So they're put out to the universe and they decompose out in space in the universe. But yeah, they don't necessarily know when they're going to die. And yeah, I mean, there are old age is a very significant cause of the passing of extraterrestrials. The average lifespan for most ETs is 400 Earth years. 68. Peace and love, Sterling and team. Is it possible for a person who was a stalker and then passes to return in spirit to harass the same person they were stalking who is still alive? This is usually in the middle of the night with loud noises. How do they get this stalker spirit to stop? Actually, no, this never happens. So just take the example, if somebody was doing something nefarious or stalking, when they cross over, they can't stalk you from the other side. That actually in that love space, you're not allowed to do that. You can attract lower level energy, which is true for all of us. If you're in a heavy state of depression or drug abuse or a high anxiety, you can attract, like attracts like. But there's no stalking going on for any individual on the other side. That doesn't happen. So there may be some other, whoever asked this question, some other earlier life lesson, or even could be a trauma, not a doctor, that you're going through that needs some kind of resolution, but no stalking going on here. I do pick up there's a fear factor around all this, but it's not a stalking from any individual from the other side. 67. Hi, Sterling and team. In the last year, I become fascinated with connecting with heaven and I'm so glad I found your channel. Could you elaborate a little bit more about how you connect with your team? When you channel information in real time, I notice that you often look to one side or the other. Could you let me know if you're looking at something? Is it your way of communicating or listening? Is your room filled with guides and angels? Well, first off, this is a gift that I came down to earth with, functioning over the eight clairs. And we'll go into a lot of detail here, but the eight clairs include clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairalience. However, whenever I look around, I'm actually seeing full scale apparitions of entities, spirits, guides, angels, people that have crossed over. So it's like being in a conference room meeting. So sometimes when you see me answer a question, I might look around a little bit here and see who wants to take the question, who wants to answer the question. I consider myself, for lack of a better term, a large telephone to the other side. I'm a telephone or video telephone. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it works for me. It's just I see, hear, and talk with them directly, and it's a skill that I never tried to train myself in. It kind of came very naturally, and in fact, avoided it for a lot of years. So, loving people around me pushed me into doing it more publicly. Okay, 66. Thanks, Sterling and team. I have a rescue home for cats, and I volunteer rescuing animals on the streets in Central America. I live with 20 rescued cats, and some cats had it pretty bad when they were alone. I tell them every day how much I love them and that they are my best friends in the world. I also tell them they never did anything wrong and I will always help them. Sterling, you say animals come from the angelic realm, but do they understand me when I tell them all these loving things? I want to give them the best life and hope they understand me. Yes, all animals completely understand all of us. They communicate telepathically. They are from the angelic realm, not angels, but when you're from the angelic realm, you resonate with a very high vibrational love energy, unconditional love. Remember, all animals are here to teach us lessons. So it's wonderful you're taking care of all these cats. Remember, in reverse, they're teaching you a lesson about humanity and care and love. So there's actually reverse lessons coming from them, but they understand you very, very well. All animals, they understand verbal language and they communicate telepathically. As a side note, because animals can communicate telepathically, they understand what you're thinking. So sometimes if you're in an environment where you're not watching your thoughts or you're overly concerned or depressed, you can bring them down. That's not characteristic of you. Whoever asked the question, you're doing a loving job, and I congratulate you on that. But all your animals know exactly what's going on and their purpose. 65. Many people have complained of various symptoms such as no or little motivation, headaches, and extreme fatigue. Is that possibly related to downloading the energies that are surrounding us? No downloading of energies per se. Yeah, people are certainly communicating with the other side, but this is kind of an overstatement with people say, well, everybody's downloading energy and that's why they're all fatigued. A lot of fatigue's coming because there's a lot of individuals that are empaths on Earth. So they're taking in everybody's energy. They're taking it from the news and the media and family members around them, people. It has more to do with being an empath and kind of working with your empath side to control that. That's taken everybody's feelings. I very often will recommend a book on this channel. Everybody that is an empath, there are a lot of empaths watching these channels. You can take a look at the book, The Empath Survival Guide. And I believe the author's name is Judith Orliff, I think is her name. Might be very, very helpful, but not because of the constant downloading this question is phrased on. It's because a lot of people are empaths. 64. Hi, Sterling and team. Can you please tell us, besides Pennsylvania, what are the other swing states that Kamala Harris will win in November from the list? They're listing out Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Looks like almost all of them will go for Kamala Harris, but I'm picking up a little bit of some pushback here on Wisconsin and Arizona. And I know it's been surprising, but even so, like Florida looks like it may in fact go, say, blue for Kamala Harris. That is voting for Kamala in the election. I'm seeing something with Wisconsin and Arizona here that it makes it's kind of tentative. 63. Where do light workers come from and what are they? Humans with many incarnations, hybrids, ETs, angelic realm, if not human, how do they get here adopted? So nothing implied by the term light worker. You can actually replace the term light worker with the word love worker. Remember, only two energies in the universe, love and fear. Light workers, a lot of them are teacher healers, humanity, Homo sapiens sapiens. A lot of times they've older souls been reincarnated, nearly 100 reincarnations or more. And but light worker is humanity, Homo sapiens sapien, teacher healer life path. That's two of the 12. But I would tell you that, I know a lot of people get very confused about the term light worker. You can replace the term light with love. So it's really like a love worker. You're actually doing everything you can on the planet to move everybody forward, expand their horizons, expand their possibilities, bring them all together. 62. Hello, Sterling and team. I would like to know if the Supreme Court decision to give the president so much power aimed to support 45 will ever be rolled back, reversed, or rewritten to be more in line with our founders and their intention for the U.S. president that they do not become a king. Yes, I see in the first term of Harris-Walz here that there will be new amendments to the Constitution added, and there'll be a bit of a rollback. Remember, there can be some swapping around of justices in the Supreme Court, and there's going to be kind of new rulings on that immunity case, that immunity sort of trial. And then I do see amendments to the Constitution taking place over the first 4 years there of the Harris-Walz presidency. Whatever. And actually, all this can effectively remove limitless liability and remove the threat of any kind of a dictator or king coming into the country or ruling the country, which is kind of that's the trend line that 45 was on, as we all know. 61, greetings from the UK. What happened to the schoolgirls at Hanging Rock picnic in Australia on Valentine's Day in the year 1900? It has always fascinated me. Was there a portal in the area? I'm getting a lot of very large magnetic energy centers in that area. So remember, the Earth has a lot of large magnetic energy centers, and that can create kind of some eerie occurrences. But what I'm getting around this picnic is that the girls, I don't know if there were a handful of girls, two, three of them, or four, but they met with a bad end at the hand of another. So this is not a portal. This is not them dropping off the planet. This is a bit of a human interaction coming to a bad end, somebody with malintent. So there are some eerie events that occur around that area, what is called Hanging Rock, because it's a very large magnetic energy center. So people can feel strange, but I'm not getting that this is like a portal experience for these girls. And I'm also getting a lot of folklore around this. So maybe people create books or movies or something, but a lot of folklore around this kind of makes a good, interesting story. But unfortunately, they were met with a bad end at the hand of another. It's unfortunate to see. 60. Do living organ donors or their recipients experience any spiritual or emotional change from this procedure? Not directly, but remember, all of our life paths are interconnected. So when you're an organ donor, you're certainly associated with another individual, let's say, that's taking that organ. And I find many cases when you have that close a relationship with somebody, they're usually in your unique spiritual family, which you'll find out when you cross over. We'll have thousands of members in our unique spiritual family. So it is part of your life path, that direct experience with the individual. It's not so much just about the organ, it's about the life path interconnection, if you will, and what you agreed to do when you came down here in your association with that individual. Okay. 59. Hi, Sterling and team. I sometimes see questions about the health of a public figure. Are you at times blocked from seeing what's going on with them due to privacy concerns? For example, if I had a health issue, I wouldn't want everybody to know about it other than my closest family members. Do your guides and angels decline to answer such questions, or do you and Linda pass over them because it wouldn't be ethical to answer? So, first off, whenever I'm doing, let's say, a session with somebody, my angelic team, guides and angels, they only bring forth information that's meant to be shared, that you're meant to hear. Now, if it's a personal question that comes up for these shows, if they're highly personal, just by matter of principle, we don't include highly personal questions in these public shows. But in terms of a private session, if the information is appropriate, they're meant to hear it. That information will be shared with them. So hopefully that helps. I think that's kind of the question this person's asking. There isn't really a scenario where somebody asks a highly personal question about their health, and we would put it on this show because these shows are meant to be more to kind of benefit the public at large and bring forth a lot of information that kind of helps move everybody forward, not necessarily personal readings, but health information does come through. We do some of that in our live streaming sessions on Fridays with the Platinum membership. But the information that's only appropriate to hear is what comes through. Yes, as a follow-up information here, I do see a lot in terms of sometimes people's health. But yeah, there is some. You're never allowed to change someone's life path. So if for some reason the information will change that person's life path, it doesn't get shared. 58. Hi, Sterling. What fallout do you see from the revelation of memos leaked from the Supreme Court that Chief Justice Roberts was advocating for 45's immunity prior to hearing the case? What are the repercussions? I don't see real repercussions in 2024 as we get out into 2025. I do see at least four justices exiting, including Roberts and Thomas, Alito. Yeah, so I don't think there are real repercussions, but people are going to give them like kind of a mandate to exit and kind of be forced out. I mean, I don't see jail time, prison time. Unfortunately, this is where we have, as a country, didn't have the right kinds of ethics laws and the right kinds of controls and mandates to really force the right kind of, when these ethics laws were put in place, they didn't have any strong repercussions, so to speak. So this is all going to get corrected, but it looks like a lot of these individuals, including Chief Justice Roberts, will be asked to leave, essentially forced out. 57. Many Muslim Americans are supporting Jill Stein or 45 in the November election. Do you believe this will have any effect on Harris's chances of winning? I don't see any real overall effect. So I don't know if this is like, percentage-wise, it's going to have a very minimal effect on the overall election. I do see Jill Stein having effect on this particular sector of the population. That's true. But it doesn't. Kamala Harris will still be declared the winner by popular vote, by electoral count. But it's just not going to it won't have a big effect on the election in terms of Jill Stein here. 56. Billionaire Mark Cuban said he's interested in buying Fox News and Twitter, or X. Will he do it? And if so, will it be positive? I actually don't see this happening. It looks like it's kind of conjecture in the media to me here. And, it looks to me like that this sort of a purchase, if it was X and Fox News, you're looking at somewhere between 10 and $20 billion collectively for everything. And that's like, almost like 10x times Mark Cuban's net worth. But anyway, I don't see him moving forward on it. It looks like it's more conjecture in the media, maybe just kind of what they call fodder in the media. 55. Dear Sterling and team, will Taylor Swift be protected from violence now since 45 stated he hates Taylor Swift? She only stated who she is voting for and encourage others if they are of age to register to vote. She didn't ask her fan base to vote in a specific way. I don't see any real difficulty coming from 45 supporters and threats or violence against Taylor Swift. I mean, there's always going to be noise, so to speak, in the media. I see that, but I don't see real relevant threats to her life or danger. I don't see that. And I do see that whatever 45 was doing, like when he put out that, like, I hate Taylor Swift comment, I think it was on X or Twitter, maybe it was on True Social, that what's really going on there, he's trying to appeal to his base, right? Individuals that say, younger men, for example, that maybe don't like Taylor Swift. So in that comment was kind of a reverse appeal to his base, but I don't see any real threats coming towards Taylor Swift. 54. The next time a Republican becomes president, will it be a MAGA type Republican or someone more moderate and level headed? I guess it's going to be somebody much more moderate and level-headed. It'll be the new style GOP Republican Party. And it looks like it'll be within about 8 years. So that puts you at about the year 2032. Looks like a much more moderate, reconfigured GOP Republican Party that won't be MAGA based. 53, dear Sterling, there are election officials in some states that say they will not certify the election. Will this happen and how will it get resolved? Yes, there'll be several states, and half a dozen states here that are going to try to not certify the election. But it looks like collectively, because of the popular vote count, and then it's almost like empirically, they're going to look at the states. I know they won't certify it, but they're going to understand where the electoral votes are and the popular vote in these states. That's not going to delay like the inauguration January 20th, but there'll be states fighting it. But I think it may take a week, a few days, a week or something here past election, maybe even longer than that. But some of these states will play games, but it's not going to stop certifying her as the winner. May sound counterintuitive, but I think some of these lack of certifications will end up being court cases. Like they'll have to certify the election and then say we didn't certify it. So there'll be some game playing going on here. 52. Hello, Sterling. Once 45 is defeated, will we still have the judges, politicians, and corporations that are working against the betterment of humanity? When will their influence and power subside? So we'll still have all those facets in society, politicians, business owners, corporations, whatnot. This is going to go on for decades. This is all about the 3-decade reset. So really for decades, this will still be an element in politics. 51. Dear Sterling and team, what methods do extraterrestrials use to teach their children? For example, do they use play or more formal teaching techniques? What advice can they offer to help us improve teaching our own children? So, interesting enough, no direct advice for humanity in this area. The reason is that extraterrestrial children start off at a highly advanced way, neurologically, mentally. So, when children are very young, let's say the equivalent of like first grade for humanity, extraterrestrial children are already learning about physics and quantum physics, where humanity or Homo sapiens sapiens are learning their ABCs or how to read. So quite different. I mean, there's a much more highly evolved spectrum here of extraterrestrials. There's really no direct educational parallel here. And very serious. Nearly all extraterrestrial species are very serious and very purpose driven. But as far as education goes, it's leagues apart from humanity versus extraterrestrials in education. 50, hi Sterling and team. Will we ever find out who 45 sold classified documents to and what information was contained within them? Yes, the CIA already knows what information was leaked, where it ended up. In fact, there are things regarding, for entertainment purposes only, about nuclear subfleets and capabilities, and this will all become public in the year 2026. 49. Sterling and team, is Netanyahu purposely prolonging the war by not agreeing to a ceasefire so he can stay in power? Not completely. It appears that he's trying to gather or gain Israeli control of certain regions around Israel to stop what I call decades and decades old issues. And so it has to do with the northern border with, the Hezbollah. It has to do with ISIS. It has to do with Hamas. There's a lot of issues here that have been going for many decades. So while he's not the most, he certainly has his own guidelines for trying to stay in power. But I do feel there's another element here where he's trying to clean up a lot of these terrorist conditions. So it's a complex issue, but I think they're asking here, he's not agreeing to a ceasefire. He's trying to get to a ceasefire, but in line with trying to get control over certain areas around Israel and limit exposure to radicals and to terrorists. 48, dear Sterling and team, Sean Puffy Combs, also known as P. Diddy, has been allegedly engaged in this criminal enterprise for decades. He has a lot of money and power. Why did the federal government choose to go after him now? Will he expose others that have been involved? Yes, you're going to see a lot of this come out, even starting this week and into next week. Be the start of a lot of individuals coming out, powerful people, people that have been associated with his operation, if you will. Be careful here. I see the federal government's been actually researching or looking into this for over 10 years. So it may seem the timing is a little unusual, but it looks like there's been a very long ongoing investigation. And because of the interconnection with politicians, people in power, they felt now was the right time to start to get ahead of this, so that they had the right kind of leverage, the right kind of people, and they stopped some of the operations going on. I want to be careful what I say here, but the federal government has been in researching this for over 10 years, if not longer, and now is the right time for them to really start now shutting down the operation. There's also a lot of interconnection here, even with Epstein. 47. Hello, Sterling. How will 45 and JD Vance's hate-filled rhetoric regarding the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio affect the election? Is it helping or hurting 45? It's significantly helping the Harris-Walz campaign. So, far be it for me to understand why 45 would be doing the things he's doing. Obviously, he has a lot of hate, and he tries to fan the flames of hatred across many different groups in the nation. But this actually is going to be helping Harris and Walz significantly in their campaign. 46. Hi, Sterling. Will cryptocurrency be the new banking system, and when? No, not cryptocurrency as we know it. Cryptocurrency has no centralized structure, no centralized banking structure, no safeguards. There'll be new digital forms of currency being adopted worldwide. Again, here, starting in about 5 years, already starting to be developed now. They'll use blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology. But no, cryptocurrency as we know it, with no centralized banking system or safeguards, will not be replacing money as we know it, but new digital currency systems will. 45. What do you see for the stock market after Kamala Harris wins the White House? I see it'll continue to grow steadily, and I do see some new record highs coming, even starting out in 2025. So we're going to see incrementally, so mid to late 2025, incremental growth, and it'd be a calming of the market, but even some more record highs among the major stock indexes like the Dow Jones and S&P 500. 44. Will there be a cure for age-related hair loss, and will we be able to grow back our natural density volume of hair from our youth? Yes, by the year 2034, we'll have actually vaccines, pills, medications you'll be able to take that will change your genealogy around hair. So this is all part of genetic science, genetic engineering going on right now. 43. Is the Mothman a fantasy or an extraterrestrial? Mothman, as seen many times, I think there have been some sightings in recent history in Chicago area. This is a form of extraterrestrial. They're a very small form of extraterrestrial, meaning in quantity, percentage-wise, they're a very small group compared to the entire population of extraterrestrials, but they are a form of shape-shifting extraterrestrial. They make up less than 1%, much less than 1% of overall extraterrestrial species. 42. Hello, Sterling and team. What is the reason the first female president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, invited Vladimir Putin for her inauguration? I guess she's looking for assistance from Putin and Russia long term, some sort of direct assistance here. 41. Sterling and team, do you find your soulmate in every life you live? Yes, in every life you will meet soulmate, and soulmates plural. Remember, we all have many types of soulmates as we go through life. They always teach you a lesson of the heart. Soulmates are boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses, best friends, sometimes bosses, but they always teach you a lesson of heart. We always have many soulmates as we go through life. Probably important to mention there is no such thing as a twin flame. A twin flame, as defined, some people will say it's a single soul divided into two, and then you find your other half. Well, souls never divide, they don't subdivide, but we do have, I'll call it major and minor soulmates. And every soulmate teaches a lesson of the heart, and we always have soulmate connections as we go through life. 40, Sterling and team. Can you ask your guides for any tips or clues on how to tell if a program or video posting is artificial intelligence created or manipulated? Many videos and interviews look and sound so real. So, no real technology deployed yet to determine deep fakes. We're referring to like deep fake videos. We actually can take the likeness and the voice and everything of, let's say, a human being or a star, an actor, like make them say something they didn't say, for example. But within 1 year, there's going to be some new artificial intelligence technology distributed to the public. We actually be able to do easy fact checks, almost like a Google search. You'd be able to figure out whether something was created artificially or was real. And they'll do that by comparing very large databases of information and cross-checking what is real or what is artificially created. Within about 1 year, this technology will be deployed to the public. Okay, 39 the countdown. What will the 12-step recovery programs look like 2 or 3 decades from now? Will many people still go to traditional 12-step programs, or will 12-step principles be incorporated into new meditative, community-based, and service-based modalities? This is going to morph into brand new programs that will utilize new CRISPR technology to help with neurological function, along with highly developed ways of like spirituality. So there's a whole different way this is going to be approached. It's almost like the complete person. So genetic, being able to control some of the genetic factors that sometimes addiction. Again, not a doctor, and then also moving towards more spiritual, more comprehensive ways you approach the total human. My team's saying that the 12-step program, although served a great purpose for a lot of years, actually be somewhat phased out, and there'll be a whole kind of brand new way of holistically approaching the person. That's going to be within 10 years, they just told me. 38, hello, Sterling and team. Will there ever be a cure for multiple myeloma? Within 15 years, 1 5, there's going to be a very good technology coming out of Europe, I'm being told, that will be very effective in helping to identify this and cure this multiple myeloma. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know whether this affects bone marrow or something, or maybe goes throughout the body. Maybe it's hard to diagnose because I'm not a doctor. But they're saying within 15 years here, 1 5, coming out of Europe, there's actually going to be a very good CRISPR-based gene editing technology here. Looks like scientists have already identified which genes they have to kind of hone in on to correct this problem. So it's coming. 37, hi, Sterling and team. Several years ago, a good friend and I operated a cleaning service for Airbnbs. One day, while cleaning a large home, my friend Jason left to get us food from a local deli. I was folding and putting away laundry when a loud male voice near my right ear said, Jason. The shocking part was the voice of my friend Jason, who was off getting our lunch. It was loud, clear, and startled me. I left the house and waited for my friend Jason to return. What did I experience? What I get was this is a loved one that was associated with Jason, not Jason, but a loved one that was trying to communicate and get Jason's attention. I know Jason wasn't there, he's at the delicatessen, but it looks like this is like a loved one, somebody he was close to at the time, and trying to get his attention. So you might have a conversation with Jason if you still know him. There's somebody that felt very, very close to him. It feels like on a parallel level to me, like a very good friend, a brother, a brotherhood. Something here was trying to actually get his attention. And I know he wasn't there, but for some reason they felt like by getting your attention, they could somehow bridge a gap to him. He may not be a good listener to people on the other side. That's also what I'm getting. 36. The world population this month is about 8.2 billion. If everyone reincarnates many times, it's hard to reconcile the math. Are more and more souls coming into existence, or have all the souls that will ever have lived on Earth already in existence? Can you explain this, please? So there are what we call quintillions of souls. So 8 billion is a fractional percentage of the number of souls in the universe. Quintillion, I think it's 10 with 18 zeros, or that could be sextillion, because it goes millions, billions, trillions, quadrillion, quintillions, sextillion, but it's like 10 with 18 zeros here. I'm just going from memory. So there's a finite number of souls in the universe, all put together by the one source, the one force, at the same time, but just a fractional percentage down here on Earth at any one time. 35. Recently, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, governor of Arkansas, made a careless statement shaming Vice President Kamala Harris for not having biological children. Are the women in Arkansas appalled by their governor's statement, and will she be elected for another term? It looks like she is going to be reelected for another term, what I get. But whoever her base is, they shrug it off. It's like a media news cycle. They shrug off like whatever she says. So it looks like I keep, I guess shake it off is I guess the Taylor Swift song, but like shrug it off. It looks like her base still remain loyal to her for whatever reason. 34. Hello, Sterling and team. The Murdoch family is at war over the direction of Fox News. What will be the outcome? Will Fox change its platform and start telling the truth to their viewers? Will the U.S. military stop Fox News from being viewed on military facilities? So I see the entire Fox News empire staying in control of the Murdoch family, even after the senior Murdoch passes away. I see Fox News becoming more moderate after the senior Murdoch passes away. And I also get that there's already been a push, let's say around military facilities, to have, let's say, more balanced or more moderate news, not just Fox News. But I see a real expansion of more moderate news outlets being pushed around the military so that it's much more balanced. So I think that's already started. I think at one time maybe it was only Fox News being shown, and I'm getting now that that's already started to change, even in recent years here, but it's going to be much more expansion. So yeah, I mean, anyway, Fox News will get a little more moderate after the passing of the senior Murdoch. 33. Hello, Sterling and team. At the end of August, here in London, Kentucky, a man named Joseph A. Couch was hiding on a cliff near Interstate 75, shooting at passing cars with an AR-15. 5 people were injured. Luckily, no one lost their life. He ran off into an area that is heavily dense with trees and brush, making it almost impossible for the search team to navigate. He is still on the run. Is he still in the area, and will he be caught soon? This person's name is Joseph A. Couch, C-O-U-C-H, Couch. Um, I don't know. I'm getting this person's already been found and may not even be alive. So I don't know when this question was asked here. Looks like the authorities already they know what's going on. I'm picking up they already found him or know where he's at, and it does not look like he's still alive to me. So that's what my team's telling me. 32. Hello, Sterling and team. With changes going on with the 30-year reset, what do you see with dictatorships around the world? Do you see them fading away or remaining in power? I mean, dictatorships will still be around us, around the world, in many countries for a number of decades, at least 3 decades. It's going to start to wane and start to go away in favor of more democratic approaches to government around the world. But it's really going to be because of the strong influence of 12 different extraterrestrial species. They'll be in wide effect around the world. So that's part of kind of the reshaping of humanity, Homo sapiens sapiens, away from dictatorships, more towards universal government, kind of a oneness, democratic approach. 31. Hi, Sterling and team. I just read that the Teamsters have not endorsed the Democratic candidates for president. And they also, for the first time in years, attended the RNC convention, make a statement about the Republican support. They have not endorsed either party, but will this impact the election at all in November? Some of this was in the news. I saw some of this in the news last night. But I've always seen that there was some faction of the Teamsters that were going to support the Democratic ticket. So while some of the leadership across the Teamsters not supporting or not coming out in favor of either candidate for either party, I did see some of the subdivisions, regional leaders or regional leadership or something here in the Teamsters actually coming out to support the Harris Walls ticket. So I think that might already be in effect, what I'm hearing. 30. Hi, Sterling and team. Will Mike Nellis, organizer of White Dudes for Kamala, be successful fighting against subpoena from Republican Jim Jordan and the Judiciary Committee, or will he have to show up? I get he'll need to eventually show up, but it's not going to be any major effect. I think he might be fighting showing up right now or fighting the subpoena, but it looks like he may show up, but it'll have very little effect. It's like just throwing a lot of mud at the wall, unfortunately. I mean, this is kind of like the same playbook here for like Jim Jordan. 29, Sterling and team. Will JD Vance have charges brought against him for knowingly lying to his constituents and causing serious problems in Springfield, Ohio? He admitted on CNN that the animal eating story wasn't true, that he created it, and it caused a lot of panic, which in Ohio is a fourth-degree felony. I don't see any real legal charges coming against him, but I do see a loss of support overall across more moderate factions, let's say, of the GOP, Republican Party. And I think a lot of this, believe it or not, is going to be written off eventually to just like another media cycle. It's awful, what was done, but it looks like this is all part of the big washing machine that the whole GOP is kind of putting everybody through. 28. Will the US ever have universal health care? Yes, but not in a comprehensive, real sense for about 10 years, 2034. So it's going to take us a while to get to that in terms of funding, layout, structure. It's about 10 years away. You're really going to start to see it. 27. Hello, Sterling and team. Can you explain in some detail about shapeshifters? Why are they here? Are they dark energy? No, they're not dark energy. Nearly all extraterrestrial species have the ability to shapeshift. Two types of shapeshifting. One is an optical effect, so they can throw out an optical effect. So it appears to humanity you're looking at something you're not looking at. It's an optical effect. The other is more on a molecular level. They can actually rearrange cellular structures in their body to create different forms. Good example is extraterrestrials that create the Bigfoot or Sasquatch type of an image or form. But shapeshifters are not dark energy. It's actually a skill, a technique, a biological function of a lot of extraterrestrials. And by the way, that allows them to kind of move around dimensions all the time. So shapeshifting is part of the molecular structure that allows them actually to move through dimensions much more easily. 26. Oh, my team is just saying, in about 100 years, actually this technology for shapeshifting will be revealed to humanity. So long after a lot of us will be gone, but within about 100 years, this technology will actually transfer over into humanity. Okay, 26 in the countdown. Paul Rosali is an American conservationist and author who works tirelessly to save the Amazon rainforest. The rainforest is on fire, and the whole ecosystem is being destroyed, man-made fires to clear for cattle and crops, etc. Mr. Rosoli is trying to bring this horror to the attention of the world's leaders who might help. Will he get the attention and help he needs? He's a tireless worker, I get, but it's going to take many, many years for him to get substantive help from a lot of countries. So he's doing the right job right now, real time, getting the messaging out there. It's going to take many years to get real, established, concrete, like substantive help here. But he will eventually be successful. It's going to take a few more years here before he can start taking victory laps, so to speak. 25. Hello, Sterling and team. I've been hearing psychics, including yourself, discuss a visitation by ETs in their future. I've even heard one psychic declare October 7, 2026 is the date. There'll be a planetary lineup. Is this something that will happen? Can you provide details as to what we could expect to experience from the event? And when do you expect it might take place? So no planetary lineup for October 7th per se of 2024 that's going to facilitate full disclosure of extraterrestrials. It's already incrementally happening right now. A lot of sightings with extraterrestrial ships off of many coasts around the world, and but a planetary lineup October 7th is not driving any extraterrestrial event. No. The major release again has already started, and within just a couple of years here, about 2 years here, you're going to really start to get into full disclosure of 12 different extraterrestrial species. 24. Hello, Sterling and team. A few weeks ago, I was at our cabin. A friend took a photo of me standing near a campfire. There's clearly a large aqua-colored form 15 to 20 feet above me. Do you have any insight into who or what this was? This is one of your birth angels. So you can see them very easily when they're around you. Actually, when you're in a very calm state, many times it's much easier for your angelic team to even come in closer to you. That's true for all of us. But yeah, it was one of your birth angels showing up in that picture as an apparition. 23. Can you connect with James Earl Jones? What message does he have for us? I get almost immediately he wanted to stay around like to the age of 100. I don't know if he passed away in his early 93 or something, but he's like grateful for the journey that he had down here. And he doesn't want anybody to take anything for granted and then push through everything that you see in life as you think is kind of like a boundary or a wall. He pushed through a lot of walls when he was here, even like major health problems or health difficulties or something here. But he wants everybody kind of take their power. And I'm hearing from him right now, especially during this election, he wants everybody to take their power, stand up for truth. In a funny way, he has a good sense of humor. He wanted to stay around to the age of 100, he keeps telling me, but left at the age of 93, now feels he can help more from the other side. So yeah, a great guy. He says he'll be with all of us. 22, 4-year-old Michael Dunahee went missing from Blanchard School playground in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, on March 24th, 1991 at around 12:30 p.m. Michael Dunahee's disappearance is one of the largest missing persons cases in Canadian history. The playground was busy and many people were there, as well as Michael's mother, who was a short distance away playing touch football. Michael disappeared from that playground without a trace. Can your angels and guides shed some light on Michael's disappearance and help bring closure to this grieving family? His name is Michael Dunahee, and he was abducted in March of 1991. I just say what I get from my team is it appears that he was abducted, but then like adopted into a family. So this leads me to believe that he may have been raised. Looks like he may have been raised here and may still be alive. I don't want to give any false hopes to the family. Ooh, I just got a cold chill. But there's something here where whoever like abducted him, they wanted to adopt him or raise him or something here. And for some reason, this information never communicated to him. I want to be careful what I say here because I want to raise anybody's hopes, but that's what I'm getting. I'm not getting like a murder here. I'm getting to somebody that really stole them for the purpose of like adoption and raising him. So if the authorities are out there, if they hear this, they might look into some, because I feel like whoever did this is like done this before. So maybe this is like child trafficking kind of a thing, and you abduct children. This happened in Canada, right? Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, BC, Canada. All right. I mean, that's what my team's telling me right now about this. 21. Hello, Sterling. With the arrest of P. Diddy, do you see close friends and rappers and other businessmen getting caught up in the crimes? Yes, I do. I do see a number of individuals that are going to be brought into the dragnet of everything that he was involved in, and you're gonna see this starting to roll out over the next couple of weeks here, even this coming week here. So remember, this investigation was ongoing for at least 10 years. My team was telling me a lot of information here. 20. When I was a little girl, I saw people walking in my room. They were dressed in black and had black hats on. They stood around my bed and bent over toward me. Was this real? And if so, who were they? These are all part of your extended spiritual team and actually family members. Now, you described them as they were just in black, had black hats on. These were actually extended members of your family visiting you. I'm sure you didn't know them, they're on the other side. As a younger person, you can easily see everything on the other side. We all have complete connection to our spiritual gifts when we come in. 19, High Sterling and Team. The Portage County, Ohio Sheriff Bruce Zukowski put on his Facebook page that people should write down the addresses of people with Kamala Harris signs in their front yards so that immigrants can be dropped off at their houses. This sheriff is up for re-election next year. Will he be reelected or will he resign? Will anyone be harmed because of his inappropriate comment? I don't get anybody's going to be really harmed by this. I mean, obviously, this is a terrible thing to ask for or an action, but I don't see anybody say being harmed. And I do see him being stepped down or being asked to resign within 1 to 2 months here. So it's going to accelerate some sort of a departure for him. Absolutely. Okay, 18 in the countdown. My question is about water, more specifically, potable or fresh water. Western civilizations have overused freshwater resources for a long time, and our access to fresh water is not limitless. Your guides see any trouble, conflicts, or war ahead over access to fresh water supplies in the future? Will extraterrestrials intervene to help us avoid this fate? You know, I do pick up new reverse osmosis technology, which is a technology used commonly to remove heavy elements, salt from water. The problem with reverse osmosis technology is taking a lot of energy, very inefficient. I do see extraterrestrials delivering new technology already that's already being tested. Within just a few short years here, it'll start to be integrated. So fresh water will again be plentiful, but it's only because of new reverse osmosis technology coming to kind of for like desalination systems for salt water. And by the way, they're telling me it's going to take then years for that to roll out worldwide. So, it's not going to happen overnight, but the technology will certainly be available and start to roll out a number of years here. Desalination technology that uses very low levels of energy. So it's a much more efficient way to desalinate water. 17, hello, Sterling and team. I'm curious about what JD Vance's future political career looks like after promoting the racist lies about Haitian immigrants in his state, will he lose his seat in the Senate? I do see he's going to fall out of favor here and eventually lose his seat in the Senate. So I'm not sure when he's up for election. Looks like a lot of constituents of his will be tired of the antics. 16, hi Sterling. Will there be a cure for long haul COVID and chronic fatigue syndrome anytime soon? This is also on a 10-year horizon. So this is going to come out of genetic engineering, but it's on a 10-year horizon. Now, there's some good long-haul COVID doctors out there, not a doctor, but they're developing new techniques on an interim basis to help with long-haul COVID symptoms. But there'll be some really good medications coming out within a decade here that will help with this. 15, hello, Sterling and Guides. What will be the fate of the aging Dalai Lama's quest for a free Tibet and Xi Jinping? I don't see any major changes for a free Tibet, I'm sorry to say, for like 50 years, 50. So, for some reason, Tibet's going to be under some sort of stress, strain, control. So the whole free Tibet movement, the free Tibet itself, let's say the entire success of the movement will happen once those two individuals are long off the planet. So unfortunately, it's like 50 years out. 14, my mother is worried about everything, and I just want to know this. When Kamala Harris wins the election, will she help seniors with housing expenses? Yes, but this is going to be on a very slow change. So a lot of major changes in the first 4 years of her term, and then the second 4-year term, even much more significant changes. So it's going to take kind of a slow ramp to get all the funding, new revenue taxes coming in, a tax revenue, so to speak, from corporate minimum tax rates. All this is going to, will change and move towards helping seniors around. They're asking about housing expenses and living expenses, whatnot. Yeah, it's on a slow rollout, so you can look for a lot of changes over the first 4 years, and then a nice set of secondary changes the second set of 4 years. By the way, my wife made a note here in this question, which I'll read to you. They said a viewer suggested some seniors might be helped by a website called benefitscheckup.org. It's run by the National Council on Aging. Okay. And they said that I guess this particular website can direct you to things like help with utility bills, Medicare premiums, and free legal services. They also said that now you can also do passports online. So I don't know, all this, whoever put this question together, my wife passed along this information. So hopefully that's helpful. 13, will Debbie Mercarsel Powell win against Rick Scott in Florida? I see Debbie Mercosco will win the election. 12, it's tough being a Democratic mom when both my children and grandchildren are 45 supporters. I feel like they are starting to resent the fact that I don't agree with them. Will they ever understand how dangerous 45 is for America? No, unfortunately, the individuals that are around you are seeing, they only want to see what's good for them, right? So it's a little bit of a self-centered mentality. So I wish I could tell you it's going to be different, but I don't see them changing. I don't see your family members changing. This is kind of also, my team is reminding me that really what's lacking across a lot of individuals worldwide and certainly in the nation are good critical thinking skills. So ability to be able to look at any situation and use critical thinking skills as opposed to taking exactly what somebody tells you and then take it verbatim. Looks like a lot of individuals around your family are really only focused on what's good for them. I'm sorry to say. 11, can Joyce Craig, Democrat, beat Kelly Ayotte, a Republican, in the gubernatorial race in New Hampshire? It does appear that Democrat Joyce Craig will win, what they're telling me. 10. Hi, Sterling. When we pass over to the other side, do we see and connect with people who have died hundreds, if not thousands of years ago? Yes, everybody that has not reincarnated is certainly available to connect with there. You can actually even connect with people that reincarnated, but it's a little different because then you're using what's called relay points on the other side. But if they're still over in heaven, haven't reincarnated, everybody's available to cross connect with. It's like a very large, it's very like a very large get together. 9, what is the cause of fibromyalgia? I get, I'm not a doctor, but I get it's a combination of genetic factors and environmental factors. So it looks like doctors might be working on a lot of the environmental factor causes, right? Like chemical exposure or some sorts of medications or something. But it looks like they're going to get their arms around it over this next decade. They're going to make some very good progress around the causes and how to get their arms around, start controlling fibromyalgia. 8, thank you, Sterling and team. What are your thoughts about Louis Hay's work on specific stress energy stuck in the body, causing specific diseases in specific areas of the body? For example, resentment causes cancer. Or if you have a stroke, it's because you would rather die than change. If you have a sore throat, it's because you are holding words. I mean, no direct information here on Louis Hay's work or no direct commentary, so to speak. However, there's no constant direct relationship to your life experience and the health. Now, what I mean by that, we put a lot of health events on our life path, but they don't cross connect directly with, I was afraid to tell somebody the truth and now I have throat cancer. Um, Stress does reside in various areas of the body. And it's true that, things like acupuncture release certain stresses that harbor in certain meridians of the body. But my team's saying no direct connection. Let's say that you can correlate. You didn't tell someone the truth. Now you have throat cancer. You hate somebody a lot and it gave. Now, my team is also amplifying here that whenever you're in a lot of stress or anxiety or in a hate-filled rant, That does affect your body chemically, right? There are certain chemicals get released in the body that affect your body in a bad way, right? So it drags your health down, your immune system. But my this team is saying it's not a direct correlation, but there are certain meridians in the body that can harbor certain types of fears or that kind of a thing. So again, not an expert here, but in acupuncture, they certainly focus a lot on meridians in the body and how to release some of the pains or emotional traumas. Okay. Seven, can you tell us anything about the motives and future of Liz Cheney? I know many people praise her for endorsing Harris and speaking out against 45, but I have concerns that she is really about preserving the American white oligarchy after the GOP restructures with her in a new power position. I see her being instrumental in reconstructing what will be the new Republican or GOP party. I do see her throwing her hat in the ring to run for president like in 2032. Yeah, so that a lot of that's true, but it looks like she's trying to keep herself kind of as a topic of discussion, and she'll help lay the groundwork for what's going to be a new GOP party. Six. If our life plan is already determined as to when we're going to die, where does prayer fit into this scenario? It's part of the learning process here on earth. So you never change your exit point, but remember collective love, collective energy. It does tend to uplift us. It does tend to help heal us. It's the way you work with your angelic team, your guides and angels. So the prayer process, believe it or not, is part of a learning experience here on earth. How to welcome in loving energy, work with your angels and guides, work for a better outcome. It's all part of the school that is down here. So seriously, people ask these kinds of questions all the time. Everything else predetermined, why pray? Prayer is how you get alignment with all things love in the universe, people, angels, guides, and actually help get into a state of renewal and enablement in life. 5. Sterling, one night as I went out my back door, I saw the neighbor's motion sensor light come on. I saw a very tall, broad figure, all one color, run, slightly bent forward from one neighbor's house to his house, to this house. It actually ran through the house. It didn't look real. I questioned the neighbor who said he reviewed the video and he saw the motion light come on, but nothing was there. Am I the only one who could see it? What was it? This was extraterrestrial running through interdimensions. So remember, a lot of extraterrestrials are interdimensional because of shape shifting and their physiology. They can move through dimensions. So you actually saw this is an extraterrestrial moving through an interdimensional state. Or, hi, Sterling. I know many younger families waiting on the sidelines to purchase a home. Will home prices and interest rates come down meaningful next year? Yes, they will by like the third quarter of next year. Now you're going to see incremental reductions in interest rates. We just saw a half a point reduction by the Federal Reserve this week. It takes a while for all those changes to get work their way through the economy and the mortgage rates. But it's like significant differences in a good way by like the third quarter of next year, where it looks like they're really going to kind of open up an onslaught of a lot of activity. So I think this person's asking about, yeah, I mean, um, new level set, home prices, mortgage rates, kind of all in a good way. And they're showing me kind of around the third quarter of next year, but it'll be kind of a ramp up to that period. So a ramp up in interest rates, it'll create a condition, if you will, in the market that will create kind of a lot of fervor and a lot of activity around new mortgages, home buying, enable a lot of people to kind of enter into the market. 3. Hi, Sterling and team. My question is about two subjects you have addressed, old souls and suicide. Old souls choose harder lives to evolve further. They may sign up for more than they can chew, thinking they can manage it. Does this make old souls more likely to commit suicide? What if they stick to it? Doesn't free will give them two different life paths? One where they may choose an early exit and one where they stick with it. So, suicide has nothing to do with an older soul or a newer soul. It's true that older souls do take on more severe traumas. Suicide is a very specific type of life path. And it doesn't, you only have one exit point that you agree to when you come down here, not multiple exit points. So, kind of different topics here. But it's true that older souls will take on more severe traumas and challenges, but they do that in a way to help humanity. So the lessons they learn while they're here, they usually leave those lessons in the form of books or seminars or TEDx talks to help with humanity. But no, suicide is not necessarily directed to newer soul or older soul. I have seen suicide life paths on both newer souls and older souls. So different there. Remember, suicide is a very specific type of life path that affects everybody around you. Everybody's life path interconnects doctors, lawyers, family members, spouses. So suicide on a life path it actually puts a kind of a propagation of lessons out to many people around that person as well. And number two, number one, I always take notes before I start the show, so I'll give them to you. Number two, what do you see coming up next week? New targeted violence in the Middle East between Lebanon and Israel, leading to, unfortunately, a much larger war in the north. So there's something significant going to start going on here in the north in Lebanon with Israel. Absolutely. New legislation to stop GOP meddling in the election process. So there's some sort of new laws coming out here. We're seeing a lot going on around the states here, but I see some new law being proposed here. It looks like it can be effective. So this might be around how votes are cast, how they're counted. There's something going on here with like a new law being proposed. Looks like it's coming out this week. Large flooding concerns in the US and parts of Europe. Also, new protests and some violence in parts of France and Spain, which is kind of interesting. So none of these are like major protests or some radical nature of something going on here around France and Spain, they're telling me. And then new terrorist activity and radical fights going on deep inside Russia. So some new surge of violence going on kind of deeper inside Russia. Some of it may be here caused by Ukraine, but also looks like something that's more homegrown. So this could be some terrorist activity deeper inside Russia to try to destabilize Russia and then to help Ukraine. Okay. Number one in the countdown. Do you have anything your guides want to share? When working with your guides and angels, take what you hear immediately and do not try to dissect the information. The first thoughts you hear are usually the ones meant to assist you in the here and now. So on that note, that concludes the show being recorded today on Saturday, September 21st. It will be posted live to the channel Sunday, September 22nd, 2024. Again, for those of you to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the Book a Session tab. And if you want to join our Platinum membership, the join buttons are on the front page of the YouTube channel as well as the website. It gives you access to hundreds of videos in the archive along with training videos and also our live streaming sessions for Platinum members on Friday mornings Pacific time zone. So I'm going to wish you tremendous goodwill and a great deal of love and light to you and your families. Take care, and I will see you all again very soon.